Hi everybody, I'm Filippo. I'm a technical educator at the Web3 Foundation, and I will talk about OpenGov. Before talking about OpenGov, I would like to, oh that's really bad. It's a little bit low. Yeah, I will talk about governance 1, the first version of the governance of Polkadot and Kusama. So how it worked, the first version of the governance is that we have the public and we have the council. So the public could submit a proposal that was going into the proposal queue. Are you able to see from there? No. I'm sorry. Yeah. They can submit proposal that goes into a proposal queue. And when it's in the proposal queue, people can endorse the proposal, and the proposal with the most of the endorsements, they basically ranking up in the queue, and the proposal with the most endorsement is at the top of the queue. And if it's at the top of the queue, then it can become a referenda. And bear with me, because this is not, there is like an alternating timeline with the external queue coming from the council. So the other possibility is that the public is also submitting Treasury proposals to the council, and the council can vote on this Treasury proposal. The council can also submit own proposals, and these proposals that they're coming from the Treasury, if they're voted in a positive way, they can directly be spent, and they don't go through referenda. So this is important to understand, that the Treasury proposal, they can go to the referenda, but most of the times they are just executed, and that's it. So part of the proposal from the Treasury, they can go to this external queue together with the proposal from the council. And when they are in the external queue, I mean, the external queue is a queue, but is not really a queue, because there is space only for one proposal. So when we have proposal in this external queue, we have two possibilities. One is that the proposal can go to referenda. And if it goes to referenda, it's an on-off switch on this track and also the proposal queue. And is an alternating timeline of 28 eras. So basically, people are voting one time on proposal queue from the public, and one time they're voting proposal in the external queue. But we also have a technical committee here. The technical committee is basically 3 entities. So it's not many entities in there, but while the council is 13. And the technical committee can fast-track proposal in the external queue. And if the proposals are fast-tracked, they don't go in this alternating timeline. They just, it's the only possibility in Gov1 actually to have simultaneous proposal that you can vote on. It's the only possibility. If the technical committee is fast-tracking proposal, that they basically, they don't go this alternating timeline. So this is a broad overview of the governance version 1. So referenda. Referenda in Gov1, the timeline is can be seen like this. We have a launch period where people are endorsing the proposal. If the proposal gets, if you remember, on the top of the queue, then it's possible to vote. People are voting, and if proposal is approved, then it goes to an enactment period. And there is a little bit of a difference considering who is submitting the proposal. So if the council is submitting the proposal, if we go back, if the council is submitting the proposal and all the 13 members, they say, for example, yes, so this all members are voting yes, so they agree. It's, we are using this called adaptive quorum biasing. It's a very complex word, but actually what it means is that if all the members agree, it's basically the referenda has supermajority reject, which means that you need a lot of no votes in order to reject the proposal. Because all the members vote yes, and the members of the council, they are technically skilled, and we believe that if they all vote yes, it means that it's mostly a big change or something that creates a good impact or in the ecosystem. So supermajority reject. While if the council, if not all the 13 members, they vote yes, then it's just a simple majority. The other way is the public. So public referenda for voting is all referenda need supermajority approve. You need a lot of votes to approve. So usually they are like a bit maybe difficult to get the approval because you have this supermajority barrier. Then we have the emergency referenda. The timeline this is basically the fast track from the technical committee. The enactment period is shorter, so that's what the main difference on the timeline for this emergency referenda. So these are data from these are on-chain data. It's a very top high-level overview, but it's just to understand where most of the proposal went in Gov1 in Kusama in 3 years. So since from December 2019 to December 2022. And you can see really like the highway here is the council that is basically having a really important role in, of course, we have the Treasury proposal, there are a lot, and we don't have, like, we have a few proposals going into the proposal queue, and it's very interesting here, the external queue, this fast track was really used a lot. So out of like 171 proposals, 160 were fast-tracked. So a lot of proposals were fast-tracked, and basically all runtime upgrades were fast-tracked by the technical committee. So here it highlights how important it is to have multiple referenda that we can vote on. This was the only possibility to have multiple referenda that people can vote, and it was used a lot because we wanted a lot of changes. So it's evolving fast. This fast track was really like kind of overused, overbooked. And in here you have a little bit of a summary. We had 265 referenda, of which 196 passed, 74%. Then we have of this past referenda, 67 were forkless runtime upgrades, which is a lot. And if we think about it, it's just 1.25 referenda every week. This is the number of referenda that were approved in Gov1 on Kusama. Now we switch to OpenGov. OpenGov has a different structure. Everything is a referenda. Everything goes through the public. We have different origin and tracks. So now how OpenGov it works is that we have 15 tracks, of which one is the whitelist track. We don't have the council anymore. We don't have the technical committee. And we can say that the fellowship is a group of experienced people that they know the ecosystem. It's supposed to be way larger than the technical committee. It's kind of a technical committee, but really big. It is supposed to have like hundreds, maybe in the future thousands of people. And while the technical committee were 3 entities. So we had some centralization kind of structure, but this was necessary at the start of launching Polkadot. Then all this different origin, we have different referenda that they can be voted on. And we also have this new multi-role delegation. Delegation was possible also in Gov1, but now we have this multi-role delegation because we can assign different expert people to different type of referenda. And the timeline is a little bit similar to Gov1, but there are some differences. We have a lead-in period, and in this period, basically, people need to deposit some tokens. Then they need to stay in this lead-in period for a minimum amount of time, and there must be enough space in the track for the proposal. And if you think about it, this ensures that actually all the proposals get a chance to be voted on, because in Gov1 we have this system of how to say, like, endorsing proposal. And the problem of endorsing proposal is that there were proposals that stayed in the queue for years. So not all proposals got a chance to be voted on. So here we ensure that actually everybody gets a chance. And then we have the deciding period where people, they just vote. They vote on the proposal. And within the deciding period, we have the confirmation period. The confirmation period is, we don't have adaptive quorum biasing anymore. This supermajority approve, supermajority reject, because we don't have the council, we don't have the technical committee. So what we have is this approval and support system, and we need to maintain a certain level of approval and support for the confirmation period in order for the proposal to basically to pass, and then to go to the enactment period. We have 15 tracks, and here I just put an example of 2 tracks. We have the root, 15 origins. We have the root origin, and we have this, for example, the small tipper origin. And you can see how, like, the timeline is hugely different from Gov1. We have way more flexibility. And basically, we have the leading period for the small tipper origin that is way shorter, the confirmation period as well, and the enactment period that is also like shorter than the root origin. So here the idea is that different origins, they also like have different proposals that have different impact on the ecosystem. And a runtime upgrade will probably need a little bit more time to execute, to make sure that everything is all right, while a small tipper doesn't need to have all this timeline and can be executed more like more quickly, basically. Also, just a quick recap about approval and support is simply that we need to achieve, in order to pass in the confirmation period, we need basically to have some support and some level of approval. Support is actually the turnout, is how many, is the percentage of people that vote divided by the whole possible votes in the ecosystem. So it's how many people actually voted on a specific proposal. While the approval is the amount of yes votes over the total amount of votes that were people voted on for a specific proposal. So you can see here is that if we met the approval very early, it doesn't mean necessarily that we enter the confirmation period, because we need to wait that also we meet the support minimum criteria, and we need to stay above this for all the confirmation period in order for the proposal to pass, basically. So the confirmation period is just a period where we need to keep this support and approval value criteria for as long as the confirmation period parameter in the specific track is, right? And then if the proposal is approved, we go to the enactment period. So OpenGov, we saw that how the fast track was really used a lot. OpenGov is basically fast track on steroids, because here again, I just show 2 origin, small tipper and root. in a small tipper, we can really like vote simultaneously on a lot of proposal. While the root origin, we can only vote one proposal at a time. We vote on one, and when it's voted on and it goes to the enactment period, we vote on the next one, and so on. So basically, Gov1 was always like only these options, with the only exception of the technical committee, where we can actually have multiple proposals voting at the same time. So how half a year of OpenGov on Kusama? So from the end of November 2022 to the present, how the thing look like is that we're submitting 188 public proposals to different origins, and basically 30 went to the whitelist. So 30 proposals were whitelisted, while the other proposal were to the other origins. And here we can see like that different proposals were, some proposals were like canceled, some proposals were timeout, because when they are in the leading period here, there is also some timeout that if a proposal stays in the leading period for too long, people are not submitting the deposit, or it's there for too much time, it just go to timeout and it's gone. And some proposals were rejected, and the summary here is that out of this 188 proposals, 121 passed, so 64%, and this is more, if we think on basically weekly basis, is 4.45 passed referenda every week, which if we just count the referenda is 3.5 faster than governance version 1. But how it looks like a little bit more, if we filter Gov1 and OpenGov, we can see the data, we can see that 44% of the proposal were actually from the Treasury in Gov1, while in OpenGov, 61%. So it seems like OpenGov seems to attract a little bit more Treasury proposal. It's also important to understand that 6 of the 15 tracks, they are Treasury tracks. So they are Treasury spending tracks in OpenGov, so quite a lot. If we see at the Treasury over time, from 2020 to until now, we can see that there has been some problems, but we can see when the OpenGov started, there was a massive drop, but there was also some spending before. So it seems like OpenGov is not the only driver of this Treasury spending. There was spending already before OpenGov. So now we go to Polkadot, and with Polkadot is basically looking similar, the Gov1 situation, 3 years of Gov1. We have a total of almost of the proposal went through the council. The similar, like it's a kind of a similar picture like on Kusama, which we can expect. And we had 92 passed referenda, 75%, which is similar to Kusama. And we also have, of this past 29 forkless runtime upgrades, which is 31%, on Kusama was 34%, which we have similar like statistics here. And 0.62 referenda passed every week, which is a little bit more conservative than Kusama. The Treasury on Polkadot, we can see that after the Gov1 ended on Kusama, there seems to be like a slowdown in the accumulation of the Treasury, which might lead to think that there is an overall demand from Treasury funds on both Kusama and Polkadot. So it's important to see here that yes, Gov1 might attract more Treasury funding, but it seems to be an overall like request of funds from the Treasury on both ecosystems. The current situation of the Treasury is that is a reactive situation. So the Treasury is basically accepting proposals from different people without setting like goals or without setting specific requests for different proposals. For example, we want to develop something for improving a specific feature of Polkadot, and then we accept proposal for this kind of category. It's not acting like this. People can actually propose whatever they like. So it's a kind of a reactive situation, and the cost, they're all upfront. So they are dispatched before actually the people are delivering, and this leads to some accountability issues because there have been projects that requested funding and then they didn't really deliver what they promised. So an idea here for the future of the Treasury that can be discussed is that can be a proactive system where there are different categories where people can submit proposals for specific things that are needed in the ecosystem. And another thing is to make accountable the people. And here we can have some retroactive funding where people maybe receive some of the funding before and then other funding after, or depending on the size of the proposal, can be all retroactive funding. And here the idea is that we need to prove value before getting money from the Treasury. So it's also like in the normal business world where people are starting to use their own money at the start when they're building something. Yeah. Oh, okay. Where they're building something, and basically we want to make people like prove their value before dispatching like the funding to the projects. Finally, here I just put all the metrics into a table. Here we have the approved referenda per week for Kusama, Gov1, OpenGov. We can see that if we look only at the referenda, there is a huge difference, and we actually have 3.5 more throughput on OpenGov when we talk about referenda. But if we look at all the approved decision per week, because Gov1 is not only about referenda. A lot of decisions were approved by the council. It didn't go to referenda. So if we look at all the approved decision, this difference is much less. So we can say that actually, yes, OpenGov is a little bit faster, but not that much fast than Gov1, because if we are looking at all the approved decision here. On Polkadot, we just have data on Gov1, which is 2.52 approved decision per week. And if we don't have OpenGov yet, but if we assume that there is a similar throughput multiplier for Polkadot, we will not have even on Polkadot a huge difference on the number of approved decisions per week. So, of course, this cannot, I mean, the talk is about OpenGov and what we can expect, but we cannot expect anything. We don't know how it will be. It will be more conservative. And of course, this is just an extrapolation. But here the main point is just to see that if we look at the global thing, all the decision between Gov1 and OpenGov, there is not that much difference. The only difference is that is OpenGov. So there is no council, there is no technical committee, there is no centralized kind of bodies. Everything goes through the public, and it's a more democratic system. So this is the main thing. But yeah, we will see how it will be. Thanks a lot. There are any questions?
Thank you. I would like to ask if this move from Gov1 to OpenGov was like the motivation was coming from the crowd or from the leadership. So where was this idea conceptualized, and what was the main motivation behind moving from one to the other? What did you plan to achieve at that point when you made the move?
Sure. I mean, maybe someone here can correct me. In the ecosystem, I'm pretty young in the ecosystem, but the decision of the transition was from the leadership, and there was the idea to give power to the community. So Polkadot started centralized because it's easier to start centralized and then give power to the community later on when everything is in place. It's more difficult when you start already can be more difficult when you start already like decentralized, right? So here the main idea is that Gov1 was really good. It allowed to do many things. It made Polkadot and Kusama grow for like 3 years with forkless runtime upgrades, testing already many functionalities of a decentralized autonomous organization on chain. It was a great project, but it needed an improvement. So here the idea is that we wanted to remove the centralized parts, the technical committee and the council, and make everything a public referendum where everybody can vote and we don't have like this influence, right? Of course, we have the fellowship in OpenGov, but the fellowship can just whitelist proposal. And the fellowship is a much broader group of people than the technical committee. So the idea here is just to make it more, as the name suggests, really open for, of course, this leads to other problems, like all the new implementations, but it's just the first approach, and it will take time in order to reach an equilibrium. Yeah.
Planned from the beginning. So it was from the beginning planned to this move will take place even when Gov1 was in
yes, the idea here is that Polkadot must be an unstoppable ecosystem, right? In order to make the system unstoppable, we need to create a treasury where we can fund project, we can make strong economic incentives out of it, but also to put in place a way where people can come to decisions on chain in the most democratic way. This really makes the whole project difficult to stop, right? Because it doesn't depend on centralized kind of entities. So it was something from the beginning, but there will be different iteration of OpenGov, and of course, how this iteration will be, they were not planned from the beginning. Is their plan how, while we run these things and what we learn out of it, and then we implement. But the broad vision, yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, Michal, I would ask, with the voting, those stakers, once they don't vote, is
Can
it...
Can you speak loud? I'm not able to.
Yes, stakers, if they don't vote, is it validator who vote instead of them? It should be, it's on microphone, so you should hear me so well. You don't hear me?
Yeah, I don't understand.
That those who are voting are stakers, right? Stakeholders.
No. I mean, you can vote, but you don't necessarily have to stake your token. You can lock them. You can lock them on chain, and you can participate to governance, but without staking. You need to be a token holder in order to vote, but not necessarily a validator, a staker, a nominators in the Polkadot ecosystem. So everybody that has dots or KSM tokens can participate to governance. That's the whole point, that you want to make it that everybody can participate to to the governance system. Everybody that has the tokens, the native tokens of the ecosystem. There are utility tokens that allows you, allows you to stake, to participate in crowd loans, and to participate in governance.
So even dots which are locked on parachains, they can be used for voting?
I don't think so. Locked, they stay locked just for the parachain, for the parachain slot. But I need to check this.
Okay.
But I don't think if you stake, you can use the stake token in governance. So if you already have a lock, if you locked your token for staking, then you can use these locked tokens also to vote.
And me as a nominator, if I don't use that voting power, is it validator which use the voting power instead of me, or it will stay unused?
The validators can vote with their own stake. So with the self-stake. What the nominated proof of stake makes is that you help the validators to get online, because you have a lot of nodes and there is a minimum stake on each node in order to get active and produce blocks. This is the nominators are helping the validators to get online. But that stake is it doesn't go to the validator account. It stays in your account. So the validators can vote, but they will vote with their own tokens. Your stake token are your stake token. They don't go to the validators.
Just as a voting power. Okay, so it's enough for me. Thank you for the response.
There's still time. Thanks.
Thank you. I wanted to know, first, thank you for the presentation. It was very interesting to see how everything came along. I remember that last year on the Polkadot Decoded, it was said that two governances would exist together, and then in the end, through open governance, there will be a voting if the governance 1 will be abolished. And I wanted to know if this is still going to happen like that. And also I would like to know how the process and the timelines for implementing open governance in Polkadot itself are going to be, because as far as I know, it's not yet implemented in...
OpenGov?
Yeah.
No, OpenGov is not implemented yet, but it will be. It will be implemented.
And is there a timeline already?
As far as I know, yes, it should be implemented. People are they're voting with the next runtime upgrade. So I don't know exactly when exactly will happen, but it will be probably over the summertime.
And it will be implemented directly, or will it be, as announced on the Decoded last year, be in parallel, that both governance versions still exist?
The idea is that the old governance will be still in place. It was like this in Kusama. Now it's not anymore. In Kusama has been taken out. But on Kusama you had OpenGov and Gov1 running not in parallel, but in case there are issues in OpenGov, you can still fall back with the Gov1.
So it's basically not working anymore. It just would be there as a safety net if something goes wrong.
Yes, exactly. Just in emergency situation.
Okay,
and
thank you.
OpenGov on Polkadot will be also more conservative. So we have different parameters, and these parameters will likely be more conservative for the approval and support curves, and the timeline probably of the tracks. There will be some differences from Kusama.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Time's up. Yeah. Thank you very much. If you have questions, we can discuss later on.